Hey everybody, Dr. Bam here. I wanted to take a minute to talk about this diagram and kind of enhance some of the information around it. And I would usually show myself, but if I do, then my picture covers a good portion of the diagram and nobody wants that. So I'm going to talk about this and about the storage and intake of information and moving it into what we want to do, usually when we're trying to learn, all the way from sensory information to the long-term memory. So when we think about memory in the brain, our brains are designed not to become overloaded. So think of it like, your iPad, your phone, your computer. You don't want to use all your data storage up, right? So it gets rid of things that it doesn't need. And so we are constantly taking input. And for us, input comes in the form of sensory information. So we are taking it in through our five senses, all right? Taste, smell, touch, hearing, and which one did I forget? Taste, smell, touch, hearing, and sight. Sorry. It's been a long afternoon. So we're taking information in, right, constantly through those five senses, and that is filling up our storage really quick. So what we kind of do is make temporary files and we put it into our short-term memory. In our short-term memory, and if we don't use it within a pretty quick time period, or we don't acknowledge it in some form as important information to keep and retain, we're going to get rid of it and it's not going to move over into long-term memory. One of the key things here is people think short-term memory is much longer than it is. You think it's that you studied the night before and you still have the memory the next day in order to take the test. At that point, that information is considered to have moved into that long-term memory. Short-term memory in general is considered 15 to 30 seconds. So it is a very short span period of time. So what does our brain then do, right? It takes the information that we experienced and all the input we got, and it consolidates it down to what's important and what's not important, and gets rid of what's not important so that it can use that space for other things, and moves what is important or what it deems that it should keep into long-term memory. Now, it can get lost between that short-term memory and permanent long-term memory if it's not rehearsed or enhanced and all of that. I was speaking with my class today and I said, okay, so for example, who can walk up here and give me the details of meiosis? And certainly their brains recalled meiosis, may have some general facts of it, but I said, are you comfortable coming up here and teaching us meiosis, all about meiosis? And they're like, everyone's like, no. Right? Because it's not something that we rehearse probably on a regular basis unless we're, a biology professor or for me, I know a bit probably more just because it is part of some of my coursework when we look at some child growth and development pieces. But even then I try to always review it because it's not something I teach every day in and out. It's not something that is key to what I do on a daily basis. And so without rehearsal, it can move back into the short-term memory piece. Now, when we talk long-term memory, we saw above in the book here that is only considered semi-permanent, and so you can lose those longer-term memories, or they can become more distant. And when we think about this, that is why after some type of criminal event or an accident or an episode where the police need to talk to people, they want to talk to them sooner or later because the closer they are to that event, the better and more accurate their memory will actually be. Then the further they move along from it, they're going to forget pieces, their brain's going to eliminate pieces, or even shift and change pieces based on other information and input they hear. So they can get skewed by what they hear from other people who are at a similar event. So that is about memory, and really the key pieces here is that you get input through sensory information, through what your experiences and your senses. It moves into a short-term memory, 15 to 30 seconds. That's going to get consolidated to what's important. You can get it over to long-term memory through rehearsal or focus on the topic or information. And then long-term memory is only it can be semi-permanent. It doesn't mean that you have it forever and ever. That memory can fade, even as we look at some of the older medical issues, they can begin to have dementia and lose things like their basic math facts and things like that. So there is no permanent memory. There's always the possibility of memories being shifted or lost. Talk to you later.